Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up dynamic NFS volume provisioning in your Kubernetes cluster. I have done a lot of videos around that, so let me show you. If I go to my Justmain open source channel and search for dynamic NFS, you will see these three ones. Yeah, the first three ones. Please ignore these ones, the ones that I've done like 4 years ago and 5 years ago. Things might have changed slightly, but this one is still relevant. That was done 2 years ago. And if you want to know more about how to set up an NFS server and how to set up dynamic NFS volume provisioning, this is the video for it. So Cube 23.1. But what's the idea behind me doing this video is I want to make it a little bit easier for those of you who are using my Vagrant script to provision a home lab of Kubernetes cluster. So normally we would go into the Vagrant provisioning directory. I think, let me show you here. So I've checked out my Kubernetes repository. So normally people will check out my Kubernetes repository under Vagrant provisioning. They will run, there's this Vagrant file, and they will run the Vagrant up command that will bring them up with a Kubernetes cluster. But again, if they want to use dynamic NFS volume provisioning, then they have to come here, watch this video, and do everything step by step like what I've explained in this video. But that's okay if you're learning for the first time. But if it's going to be a necessity for you that every time you install a Kubernetes cluster, you also want this dynamic NFS volume provisioning to be also included, or at least have a couple of commands to provision that. So you don't have to go through the pain of setting that up every time you deploy a Kubernetes cluster. So that's the idea behind this video. So I have created a wrapper script and a manifest file that you can readily apply after you have deployed your Vagrant provisioned Kubernetes cluster, if you like. So I'll show you everything. So if I go to my Justmain open source Kubernetes, and I've done all the changes in this branch, dynamic NFS volume provisioning. But by the time you watch this video, I would have already merged all the changes from this branch to the master branch. So in this video, I'm just showing you what's the difference. So if I click on that branch, it's the usual branch, and go to the Vagrant provisioning. So as usual, you do the Vagrant up command, you will be given the Vagrant cluster, the Kubernetes cluster. And now you can see this new directory, miscellaneous and nfs-subdir-external-provisioner. So if I go into that one, so you'll see 3 new files here. So that is the setup NFS, which is a shell script, and there are a couple of manifests. So I think it'll be easy for me to show that in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, I've checked out the same branch here in VS Code, dynamic NFS volume provisioning, and under Vagrant provisioning, you will see the miscellaneous directory, and underneath that, you have the nfs-subdir-external-provisioner. Okay, so let me show you what's in the shell script, setup NFS, and I will later show you how to run these to get the dynamic NFS provisioning setup in your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so this is just a single script that you will be running on all your Kubernetes nodes, whether it's master or worker nodes, and the script will determine where it's being run. So if it finds that it's being run on a kmaster node, it will do all these things. So it installs the NFS kernel server package, because we're using Ubuntu 22.04 for all our Kubernetes nodes. The package to install to get the NFS server feature is the NFS kernel server, and then we create the NFS share, in which case this is the SRV NFS cube data. So that's the directory which we are actually exporting, so that the worker nodes can mount this directory and then create persistent volumes underneath this directory. And the idea is we are going to set up the NFS server on the kmaster. We're not going to set up a separate virtual machine, or we are not going to use an existing NFS server somewhere, but we are going to set up an NFS server, share the NFS directory from the kmaster, and allow all the k worker nodes to mount the directory. All right, and we have to change the ownership of the NFS directory to nobody and no group. And we have this line added to the etc exports directory, and then we restart the NFS kernel server service, by which time we will have this NFS share available for all the clients. And if the script determines that we are the script is being run on a non-master node, then it will install nfs common. So that's the only requirement on the k worker nodes. You just need to install nfs common so that it can mount nfs file systems. So that's a simple shell script. And if you take a look at the 01 setup nfs-provisioner.yaml, so it has got all the required resources that you need to deploy in your Kubernetes cluster. So the first one is the namespace. So I've decided, so everything I want to deploy regarding the nfs provisioner goes into the nfs storage namespace. So I'm creating this nfs storage namespace, and there's this service account and the cluster role binding, and we have a role binding. And then we have the actual deployment here, nfs-client-provisioner, which is a deployment, not a daemon set. And then we have this image here, version 4.0.2 of nfs-subdir-external-provisioner. And then here you have the environment variables for nfs server and the nfs path. And here again, the volume that we are mounting. The nfs server is kmaster, and the nfs path is srv nfs cube data. So if you're using your own nfs server, these are the areas that you need to change. I've actually added comments to it. So in this manifest, all you have to do is change these two if you're using your own nfs server. But what I'm trying to do here is having the script ready to be used for the Vagrant scripts. If you've used my Vagrant scripts to provision the Kubernetes cluster, you don't have to do anything. You just have to run this shell script on all the Kubernetes nodes and then deploy this manifest in your cluster. I'll show you everything right now. I'm just going through all the files that I've created for this change. Okay, and then we have this test client.yaml. It's always good practice to test if your persistent volume is actually working. So after you've set up the NFS server, the required packages and things like that, and then after you've deployed all the NFS provisioner related stuff in your Kubernetes cluster, you can deploy this quick persistent volume claim manifest to make sure that it gets created. The persistent volume automatically gets created. So I forgot to mention one thing, this manifest here. So after this deployment, you have this storage class, and this storage class, you can see there's the annotation here, which means that this storage class will become the default storage class. So in your Kubernetes cluster, if you've got any other default storage class, you don't want to make this a default storage class. But if you don't have any other storage class, and if this is the only storage class, then it's good to leave this as the default storage class, because you don't have to specify the storage class in your persistent volume claim templates. For example, if you look at here, I've commented out the storage class name. If you've got multiple storage class in your cluster, and if you want to use a specific storage class for your persistent volume claim, then you can specify that. But if you want to use the default storage class, you can entirely leave this line, so it will use whatever the default storage class is in your cluster. If you didn't specify any of your storage class in your cluster to be the default storage class, then the persistent volume claim, once you deploy this, it will be in pending state. It wouldn't know which storage class to use if there is no default storage class. So this one here, this annotation makes the storage class the default storage class. Okay, so that's all the change. That's all the new files that I've added to the Vagrant provisioning directory. So how would we go about using this? All right. So I'm going to go to the terminal here. I'm on the MacBook, so I'm going to SSH to my Linux host. So that's my Linux machine. And here, let me go to the repos directory. And this is where I check out my Kubernetes repository. So what's the branch name? It's dynamic nfs volume provisioning. All right, git clone my Kubernetes repository, and the branch that I want to clone is dynamic nfs volume provisioning. All right, so we go into Kubernetes and then to Vagrant provisioning. So you have the miscellaneous directory, Vagrant file and everything. So I'm going to bring up this cluster as usual. Vagrant up -- provider libvirt. Okay, so while the cluster is coming up, let me also show you. Okay, so this setup nfs-provisioner.yaml that I talked about, so all the resources that you see here, nfs storage, namespace, service account, cluster role, the deployment, the storage class, everything has been taken from the nfs-subdir-external-provisioner GitHub repository. So let me show where it is. So if you search for nfs-subdir-external-provisioner, and this is the one, Kubernetes 6 nfs-subdir-external-provisioner. And if for some reason my script here stops working, and I will keep an eye on it, but if you let me know, but things might change, so I need to keep this manifest up to date with whatever there is here in this upstream. So basically nfs-subdir-external-provisioner, it's here, and in the deploy directory is where you will find all the things that I've actually used. So the class here, which is the storage class, so that's the same thing. So they've got different manifest file for different things, for RBAC, for deployment, for class. What I've done is I've put everything into a single file because I don't want to run kubectl create command multiple times. So I just want to make it easier for my users, for my viewers, to run just as few commands as possible to get the NFS provisioner setup. Okay, so you can see here, that's the storage class and that's the deployment. It's the same thing that I copied into my repository. And then this is the RBAC, where you have all the cluster role, service account, role binding and everything. Okay, so that's nfs-subdir-external-provisioner under Kubernetes 6. Okay, so let's take a look at our cluster. And it's doing kworker 1 at the moment. And we've got the kworker 2 to go. Okay, so the vagrant up command completed, and it took about 4 minutes, just 1 second over 4 minutes. It usually takes less than 4 minutes, but okay, it's not too bad. Right, the next step we're gonna do is make the .kube in my Linux host. Okay, and then I'm going to copy the etc kubernetes admin.conf file from the kmaster to my local host under .kube directory, and the file name is going to be config. Okay, yes, and the password for the root account, for the root user in all the Kubernetes nodes, is kubeadmin. There we go, kubectl cluster info. So we have the cluster, kubectl get nodes. All the nodes are ready, so we are good to go. So now what we are going to do is, this is what you guys usually do, right? So when you check out my directory, go into the vagrant provisioning, bring up the cluster, and you've got the cluster working. So now if you want to have NFS volume provisioning set up, because most of the deployments you deploy in your Kubernetes cluster will require persistent volumes, right? You're deploying a database cluster or whatever it is, it needs to have access to the persistent volumes. So obviously you will go and watch other videos and set up, or you might have your own script. So I want to make it a little bit easier. So now, given we've got a Kubernetes cluster with vagrant provisioning, what we're going to do now is go to the miscellaneous directory, and then we go into the nfs-subdir-provisioner, and then we have this setup nfs. That's the one that we are going to run first, right? So cat setup nfs vagrant ssh kmaster. So make sure to run this first on the kmaster, because we want to, no, it doesn't really matter, you can run it in any order, not a problem. Okay, so we're running this command, we are passing the setup nfs script, and then we are using the vagrant ssh command to kmaster. So it gets an ssh session into kmaster and runs the script and then returns back immediately. Okay, let's run that. It will run a series of tasks. It runs apt-get update, it installs the NFS server, and then it exports the NFS directory, which shouldn't take too long. And then we run the same command on kworker 1 and kworker 2. Kworker 1. Okay, so that's done. It took a few seconds. That's done on the kworker 1, and let's do that on kworker 2 finally. Okay, cool. So we have installed all the required packages on all our Kubernetes node. And now what we are left with is to deploy the actual resources in our Kubernetes cluster, right? So we do kubectl create -f setup nfs-provisioner.yaml, and you can see it has created the namespace NFS storage, service account, cluster role binding, deployment, storage class, everything. And now I can show you, if I do kubectl get storage class, and that is this managed NFS storage which we just deployed, and in the bracket you can see this is default. So this is the default storage class, And the provisioner we are using, reclaim policy, when you delete the persistent volume, it gets deleted. We don't archive or we don't retain the volume, we just delete it when the persistent volume claim is deleted. Volume binding mode is immediate, which means there are other options as well. So volume binding mode immediate means whenever you create a persistent volume claim, the persistent volume gets created automatically. Okay, so we've got that. Let's do kubectl get pods -a on all the namespaces. This is the usual stuff, and the one that I'm looking for is this nfs storage here. So that's the new namespace that we created, and look at this, all the pods are running, no errors, no restarts, which is looking good. kubectl -n nfs storage get all. So that's the nfs-client-provisioner pod. So whenever you create, so that's the pod that's responsible for mounting the volume. So whenever you create a persistent volume claim, so this pod goes and mounts the volume, creates the volume and mounts the volume in the corresponding worker node, and then it gives access to the pod that's requesting the persistent volume. Okay, so what else? So let's do a quick testing. So all you've done is you run the setup nfs. How did you do that? So you run this command on all the worker nodes. That's quite simple. And then you did kubectl create -f. That's all you did. And now we're doing a quick testing. kubectl create -f 02 test claim.yaml. Right, if I do cat test claim.yaml, the persistent volume claim is named test claim, and we are requesting the access mode read write many, and we are requesting a persistent volume with a size of 1 megabytes, and we've commented out the storage class name, so it's going to use whatever the default storage class is available in our cluster. Okay, so now if I do kubectl get persistent volume claim, there's this test claim that we created, and you can see the status already, it's bound, and the volume is this one. So that's the volume that has been created. Capacity 1 megabytes, access mode is right. Storage class, we didn't specify the storage class, but here you can see that it has used the persistent volume from the managed nfs storage. And now if I do kubectl get persistent volume, so that's the name of the persistent volume, and it's bound, and the claim, so that's the default namespace. The name of the persistent volume claim is test claim, which we deployed in the default namespace, the storage class that we used, and things like that. Okay, so now we've created a persistent volume claim, which has automatically deployed a persistent volume in kmaster, and it has mounted that in the k worker. So let's do a quick testing. kubectl get pvc -o void. Now void doesn't make any sense, but anyways, if I do vagrant ssh kmaster, we can see the directory being created in the nfs exports directory. If you remember the directory that we exported for nfs shares, it's srv nfs cube data, and in here you see the default test claim pvc1e pvc1e. So that's the one that got created in the kmaster. Okay, so let's get out of it, and then let's delete our persistent volume claim. Delete pvc test claim, or you can just do kubectl delete -f. So the persistent volume claim test claim got deleted. kubectl get pvc, there's nothing there. So this should have automatically deleted, because we've set the kubectl get storage class, we have set the reclaim policy to delete. It will automatically delete the persistent volume as well. So if I do kubectl get persistent volume, there's no resources found. Let's check in the kmaster. I'm not sure whether it would have cleaned up the directory as well, but let's check. srv nfs cube data. Yes, there's nothing in there. Cool. So that's it for this video. So hope you will find this very useful. Okay, that's it. So hope you find this video useful. I will see you all in my next video. Until then, keep learning and keep on learning. Bye-bye.